Lori here. I'm here today for day 10 of BookMas. So today's video is going to be the top couple of fantasy and science fiction reads that are coming out in 2021 that I'm just really excited about. This won't be including sequels. This will just be including new books that have piqued my fancy. Yesterday I did my contemporary and thriller one. This is going to be the fantasy one, and yeah, I hope you guys like it. I tried to get my dates accurately enough. Some of them might change due to COVID and quarantine deadlines. Everything keeps changing, but these are the books that I'm intrigued enough to definitely read in 2021, or at least hope I get to. So let's get into it. The book I'm going to talk about in this video is coming out in January, and that is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I actually might try to read this in December because I did get an early arc from Disney Hyperion, which I'm so grateful for. It's been a while since Alexandra Bracken has wrote a new series, so this one has to do with mythology. And that's all that I know, and that it's set in New York City, and there's a girl who has to kind of go in the mythology world to kind of save the day. And I think I read like the first like 30 pages of it in like a couple of months ago, and I really liked it, and Athena's involved in it. It's set in New York City. I know Alex at some point lived in New York City, and I'm really excited to dive into this one. I really have been wanting to like read some more mythology books, and this one just sounds great, and she's a fabulous writer. I stand by my belief that Darkest Minds is one of my favorite dystopian series of all times, and I really cannot wait to dive into this read and get it. I also have a signed copy coming from Good Choice Reading, but I just love tackling early books. It doesn't always happen, but this is definitely one that is high on my December TBR, if not my January TBR. So definitely want to read this one. It sounds perfect. I love books about gods, and it just sounds incredible. So this is the first book that I'm going to talk about in this video. And the next book I'm going to talk about is Wings of Ebony, which I'm going to talk about in the next clip. I was given an early copy of this one from Simon & Schuster, and I just read the back, and this one also has to do with gods, and that just sounds awesome. Like, I'm really happy that we have two god books coming out, because mythology to me has always been a concept that's been mostly seen in middle grade, and I love mythology, so I like that we're getting two different sides of it. But this follows a girl who Rue's family is her whole life, but when her mother is murdered, she's forced to go live with her dad. Where she learns her existence is a crime because she is half god and half human. And and there's a plague. Oh dear, this is going to be a perfect 2021 read. There's a plague, and there's an evil villain. It sounds great though. Can we also just admire this cover for a second? But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this one, and I might actually do maybe like a reading blog based around some god themed books because I have a couple on my TBR. But yeah, this cover is pretty. I'm really excited to dive into it. According to Amazon, I think it says it comes out in January, but my ARC says it comes out in February, so I'm not really sure when it comes out, but I will be reading it regardless. This book is also another February 2021 read, and this is called The Gilded Ones, and I have been hearing about this book since early summer when Fairy Loot or one of the book companies sent out an ARC of this, and I have been dying to read it. And I have been given an ER copy, but I just didn't get around to reading it. So here is a gorgeous cover. Again, these covers are stunning, by the way. Just very, very pretty. Story that just has a really, really cool concept. And I just love the diversity in these books. I think it's great. And I love that more books are coming out that feature different countries and different environments. I just like that. I think it's very, very good for YA literature. And I'm such a proponent of that. But this book there's a blood ceremony that determines whether she will become a member of a village. Everyone's different from everyone else because of the natural intuition. Jacob prays for red blood. They'll make her feel like she finally belongs. But when her blood ceremony actually happens and her blood doesn't run the color that it's supposed to, I assume bad things happen. A mysterious woman comes telling her a choice and that she can submit to her fate and leave to fight for the Empire, or go to this other location and try to have a different life. I don't want to give too much away in the summary, but it sounds really interesting. And then the last line of the summary says, decides to lead the only life she's ever known. But as she journeys to the capital to train for the biggest battle of her life, she will discover the greatest world cities holds many surprises. Nothing and no one are quite what they seem, not even Daka herself. So that sounds interesting. I really like books set in like unique settings and unique environments, and I really like court politics. That's something I've always liked, but this seems like it might be a little bit different than court politics. Very intrigued, really excited, and I hope that I enjoy it once I get around to reading it. The next book I'm going to talk about is coming out in March, and there's quite a few books that are coming out in March. A lot of like sequels are coming out, but one new book I'm really excited about is Sweet Bitter Magic by Adriana Tully. Here's a pretty picture. So this book is coming out March 9th, and it sounds like a perfect witchy read, and it follows two main characters. One name is Tasman, who's a powerful witch of her generation, but she's committed the worst magical sin, so she was exiled and cursed with the inability to love. And the only way she can get this is if she steals these feelings from other people. And then the other point of view is Ren, who's a source. She's a rare kind of person who's made of magic but can't use it herself. And sources are required to change out the cupboard as soon as their discoveries are built. But Ren is also the only caretaker to her father. So when Ren's father gets sick, and someone she loves deeply, her and the other character, Tasman, team up, and Ren proposes a bargain. If Tasman helps her catch the Dark Witch responsible for creating the plague, then Ren will give Tamsin her love for her father, which would I guess be a very, very powerful boost for Tasman. Sounds really cool, really unique. I love unique magic systems, and this one seems right up my alley, so I'm really excited to dive into this read as well. And again, it comes out in early March, which I will definitely be reading. The next book I'm going to chat about is another book that I'm thrilled about. It's from Aiden Thomas, who is the author of Cemetery Boys, who I loved in 2020. And this book is called Lost in the Never Woods. And here is a photo. I have been on a kick in 2020 reading a bunch of like creepy forest reads, and this one's again sound right up that alley. But you follow a girl. It's been 5 years since Wendy and her two brothers went missing in the woods, but when the town's children start to disappear again, the questions surrounding her by her brother's mysterious circumstances are brought back to light. Attempting to flee her past, Wendy almost runs over an unconscious boy lying in the middle of the road. Peter's a boy she thought lived only in her stories, asks for Wendy's help to rescue her missing kids, but in order to find them, Wendy must confront what's waiting for her in the woods. That sounds like a really cool summary. Maybe has like some Peter Pan vibes. Totally here for it. Aiden Thomas's writing in Cemetery Boys blew me away, was captivated, and I am really here for this summary. Cannot wait to get my hands on it. The next book I'm going to talk about that is coming out in early May is Blade of Secrets by Tricia Levasseur. One thing I know about this book is it has to do with blacksmithing, which again is a really unique concept for a YA novel. I will say that. Like, I think it just sounds unique. But it says she prefers metal people. She spends her days tucked away in her forge, safe from social anxiety it causes her, using her magical gifts to create unique weapons imbued with power, which again sounds awesome. Ziva receives a commission from a powerful warlord, and the result is a sword capable of stealing its victim's secrets. A sword that can cut far deeper than the length of its blade, a sword that has the strength to topple kingdoms. When Ziva learns of the warrior's intentions to use the weapon to enslave all the world under her lore, she takes her sister and flees. And it becomes like a quest novel. She's joined by a couple of other characters. I've said this before. I love groups of characters when they come together to kind of save the world. And I just think blacksmithing is another kind of concept novel or kind of fantasy world that I haven't seen a lot. And then there's another one that's out. I think it's called Forged to Fire and Stars by Adriana Robertson or Adriana Kramer. I haven't got around to that one yet. But again, I love Tricia Levasseur's writing so much. So this is definitely going to be high on my TBR in 2021. I will say this, there's like probably a lot of books that just don't have release dates yet or like they haven't been announced yet. It's still the tail end of 2020 when I'm filming this, and due to the pandemic, people have been a little bit gun shy about giving us release dates because things have been getting pushed so much. But just looking at this list and seeing what I do have on this list, out of the 6 books I talked about, I am really excited for them all, but I'm definitely really excited for Lore, Lost in the Neverwoods, and Blade of Secrets by Trisha Levasseur. Those are the 3 that I'm really excited for, but honestly, these 6 books are some that I'm thrilled about and can't wait to get my hands on them, and I will definitely be sharing my thoughts with you guys throughout the year as I get around to reading them. Yeah, so I hope you guys are having a great day, and you guys are staying safe and being well, and I will see you tomorrow for another video. Bye, guys!